Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. This is still Rapid Done right here on Rapid Television. And of course, it is now time for the big conversation. My name is Victor. Okay.
And my name is Martha Alu. This morning we talked about the fact that the political scene has become increasingly interesting because of the number of things we have seen played out, particularly over the weekend.
That's right.
We had the APC convention and the PDP convention, one of the most controversial conventions, because there's been the convention we hold today, another one held in Ibadan last year,
right.
And this year there've been cancellations, and finally PDP had their convention. I think this was yesterday. So yes, there's a lot to talk about this morning, believe me when I say that.
Very true. And again, today we are looking at the ongoing crisis within the People's Democratic Party. Just yesterday, just like Martha stated, yesterday being 29th of March 2026, a faction of the party led by the FCT Minister Yesem Wike held a convention, a national convention, and this move actually has raised fresh concerns about divisions and leadership struggle within the PDP. And of course, this is also happening after a key court decision. The Court of Appeal had earlier nullified the PDP's Ibadan convention held in 2025, questioning the legality of that gathering and the decisions taken in that particular convention. Well, in response to the nullification of that particular convention that held last year, the Turaki faction has taken the matter to the Supreme Court of Nigeria, asking the court to overturn the appeal court judgment, where political observers say that these developments show deep divisions within the PDP, especially over leadership, control of party structure, and preparations for future elections. So the question we're asking this morning is, what exactly is going on in the PDP? Is this just internal disagreement or a serious crisis? And can the party resolve these issues before the next elections? Joining us to break it all down is our guest, Honorable Arthur Ogochukwu, a PDP Zonal Assistant Secretary in Imo State. Honorable, thank you for joining us this morning. Good morning to you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me this morning.
Morning, Honorable.
PDP State Assistant Secretary. You're
welcome.
Thank
you so much for joining
us. You're welcome. Now, let's begin the conversation. Taking you back to just a few months ago, rather, when the appeal court nullified the convention that held in Ibadan in September 2025. Now, do you, as a person, fully accept that particular judgment, by the appeal court?
Yeah, first of all, that nullification was done by the Federal High Court and upheld by the appeal court. And I accept that nullification because the nullification acted within the ambit of the law. The convention was not a product of the law, and Nigeria, as we know, is a country governed by law. It is not a country governed by shenanigans and showmanship. So there are certain factors that you must put in place before you conduct a national convention of a political party. PDP is a national party. So part of those conditions were never met. There was no notification to INEC. There were congresses that were not conducted in about 16 states of the Federation. And those 16 states of the Federation were disfranchised from taking part in the convention. So you cannot elect national leadership of a national platform political party like People's Democratic Party, which is a grassroots political party, without a whole delegate from 16 states and about 3 zones, the Southeast zone, the South-South zone, and the other, not taking part in the convention. There is supposed to be a 21 days mandatory notice to INEC. That was not done. As a result of that, INEC did not attend the convention. Now, if you look at yesterday's convention, INEC was fully on ground. They sent about 4 national representatives. One of the representatives that INEC said was a senior advocate of Nigeria, Professor Sani Adams, Dr. Ken Uke, another person, Director EPM, Joan Arabs, Director Lega, Rekia Nauzo, and Director Drafting and Clearance, Kechi Abu, and many other INEC executives. So they monitor the convention, and that is a constitutional provision for INEC to do. So you could not have done that tea party in Ibadan without INEC observing it and then take your result to INEC, asking them to recognize those that they don't know how they came about. It's like you in the house as a husband, you have a wife, and somebody from the house brings another woman for you and say, this is your wife, you have to take him.
Okay.
So that was the basis for which the Federal High Court first nullified the convention. They mandated INEC not to attend, and INEC obeyed the Federal High Court judgment. Now, Appeal Court looked at the basis of the nullification the Appeal Court looked at the basis for the nullification by the Federal High Court and upheld the decisions of the Federal High Court. These illegal factions, illegal persons, submitted 9 cases to the Appeal Court, and they lost all the 9 cases. So having nullified the convention by the Federal High Court, there was no basis. And the Federal High Court went further to say that the Turaki group of guys should stop parading themselves as legitimate organs of the party. And the High Court went ahead to recognize the National Caretaker Committee, which conducted the convention yesterday, as a legitimate organ of the party. And INEC took heed to that and recognized this faction and have been inviting them to all their communications, all the meetings they have been holding over times.
All right.
And which also forms the basis for which INEC attended the convention yesterday.
All right, Honorable.
In the eyes of the law, nothing happened in Ibadan.
Okay. We do understand that after the Appeal Court ruling, which you have clearly stated here, and of course they have nullified the convention that happened in 2025 November in Ibadan, which you called a tea party, by the way. Now, moving on from that, while we understand that the courts did nullify that convention, it upheld the suspension of some of the members of the PDP.
Yeah.
The Wike now was part of the people who was suspended. Now, if the previous convention was nullified, but the suspension of some of the members of that party was upheld by the court, what guarantees the legality of this new convention? That's one part of the question I'll ask you this morning. Now, secondly, can a political, because as of now, we know that there's during the convention, a national working committee was set up. New people were appointed to head the party and what have you. So without a universally recognized leadership structure from the PDP, because we still know that this other party, the aggrieved party now, will go to the Supreme Court as they have threatened, to hear the case yet again. Tell us the legitimacy of this convention right now.
Well, first of all, there was no court that upheld the suspension of anybody at the Appeal Court. There was nothing of such. No. There was nothing.
But the suspension was sustained. The suspension was sustained.
I'm giving you information. I'm giving information as a chieftain of the party and as someone who was present in the Appeal Court by the 3 justices of the Appeal Court. There was no mention of any upholdment or upholding of any suspension by any organ of the party.
We had someone from the other fraction of the party who was also present at the court and reiterated here countlessly at that interview we had with them that was sustained. However, the convention was nullified.
Let me give you information. You are the media, and I want you to be able to put out the right details to the public at all times. Now, you will ask the person that said that the suspension was upheld. Was it a prayer before the court? Was that the reason why they went to court? Anytime they come to your studio to tell you that a suspension was upheld, ask them, is it part of the prayers in the 9 appeals that you went to appeal court with? Was any issue of suspension or no suspension in your prayers? The court does not give you what you don't ask for. Now, what happened in the court that day was a judicial notice of what the judges had to do to put a point somewhere. There was no prayer asking the court to say that, do you uphold this suspension or do you not uphold this suspension? What they went to court with was that they were not giving fair hearing at the court, at the trial court. And then in part of the lines where the judge was making some analysis, the judge made mention that when you were saying that we did not get a fair hearing at a certain point, this man you allege was at a point the national legal advisor of the party, and that was before the convention. It was not the issue of the convention at the point in time. So there is no discussion of whether Wike was suspended at the national convention. It didn't come up. What I'm trying to say now is when the judge was making that reference, because they said there were two lawyers that came to represent the PDP. One was supposed to be from the National Legal Advisor, who is constitutionally authorized to represent the party. So the other lawyer came and said that he should do that. So the court discountenanced him and said, you cannot represent the party when there is a National Legal Advisor. And that judgment came on the 31st of October, 2025. The convention came on the illegal convention came on the 9th of November. Yes, I think 9th of November. So at the point when the judgment came on the 31st of October, while we were leaving the court to proceed to take over the national, to go back to National Secretariat, the other faction ran and said that they have suspended the National Legal Advisor. So it was not the suspension of the National Convention and the expulsion of National Convention that the court referred to. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say.
We get you, go on.
It was the suspension of the National Legal Advisor on the 2nd and 1st of November that the court made reference to, not the expulsion that took place at the National Convention. So it was on 31st October that the court said, INEC do not monitor this convention. If you monitor it, it is illegal. Then the 2nd of November, these people said, okay, because you have gone to represent the party and said that the convention should know, we are suspending you. So ab initio, the suspension, the court had already declared the convention an illegality. And then going forward, the alleged suspension of the National Legal Advisor was for 1 month. That is to say, the suspension started from the 1st of November to 30th of November. So there was no neck, there was no provision of the law to uphold the suspension as at the time being. And their tenure expired on the 10th of December, 2025.
Okay.
So the court could not have upheld the suspension of people that are no longer in the office.
Members of the party.
All right, Honorable.
Yeah.
Now, looking at the situation as well, of course, we've seen that the Turaki faction, they've moved to the Supreme Court to basically seek the court to overturn the decision that was upheld by the appeal court as it is. Now, you heard the convention yesterday here in Abuja. What then happens if the Supreme Court now rules in favor of the other faction? What happens, to the legality of this, and to the leadership of the PDP as well?
Well, there is no, like I said before, this country is a country run by law. We operate by, it's a constitutional democracy we're practicing. We're not practicing democracy of jamborism and anything goes. Before you build a house, there must be a foundation. So on which basis are they going to the Supreme Court? They are only trying to destroy the party. Nigerians cannot know that these agents or merchants of impunity were the ones that have been trying to destroy the party, as against the news they were peddling around, that the national leader of the party, the FCT minister, is the one trying to destroy the party. Now, we had 30 governors before this incident, and this minute we have less than, in fact, we have no governors out to speak, because the other two are already on their way out. So what I'm trying to say is you have no foundation for going to the court. You have no basis. When they get to the Supreme Court, if they go there, because what they did on Friday was just trying to distract the party. They only went, it's like you taking a photocopy and dropping it on the base of the Supreme Court. So if you have filed a case at the Supreme Court, no problem. The Supreme Court will look at your case, know if you have a thing to answer or if you do not have a thing to answer. And now don't forget, the Federal High Court has Justice Omotosho judgment. The Federal High Court has Justice Lifefull judgment. They said at the point when they said that the judges in Abuja were compromised, they went to Ibadan, to Justice Agomo, and presented their case before Justice Agomo in Oyo State, given to them by Makinde, and they lost the case to Justice Agomo's case in Oyo. They went to appeal in Oyo. They lost the case in appeal in Oyo. They came back to Abuja with 9 appeals. They lost all the 9 appeals. The 3 justices had a concurrent judgment, and they don't even have any dissenting judgment to approach the Supreme Court with. So that is to say, lies cannot lie forever. Lies cannot be held forever. Impunity cannot last for a lifetime. Okay, you're going to the Supreme Court. Fantastic. It's your right. The Supreme Court is for Nigerians. It's for everybody. But you must have a substance before you go to Supreme Court. The basis I've already listed out for you why you should go to Supreme Court. You did a convention, you did not follow the constitutional provisions of your party. Is the Supreme Court going to tell you that what you did was fantastic? That the 21 days mandatory notice you should have given to INEC, that you were right not to have given it? That the congresses that were supposed to hold in 16 states of the Federation, that you are right not to have held it? that internal mechanism of the party that you claim that you are doing, that you can jettison the constitution of your party and hide under the clothes of the internal organism of the internal party politics, and then assert impunity on the masses. So they have no case at the Supreme Court, to the best of my knowledge, and as long as the law of this Federal Republic of Nigeria is concerned. But that notwithstanding, it is within their right and within their money and their time wasting to get to the Supreme Court.
All right, Honorable Arthur.
The party has moved forward.
All right, Honorable Arthur. Now let's talk a bit about the internal democracy within the PDP. I understand that in 2017 we had a similar crisis. In fact, it was a year-long crisis between Sharif and McCarthy, where on the 12th of July 2017, the Supreme Court had to now decide, you know, the leadership. I see here that the Supreme Court had to, on July, had to rule that Ahmed McCarthy was the legitimate leader of the People's Democratic Party, which is a similar case we are talking about here right now between the Saraki and the Wike-led administration, or Wike-led fraction of the PDP. Now, is the PDP crisis a failure of leadership or a deeper failure of internal democracy if we're having a replication of what happened as far back as 2017 right here again in 2026? It is the same thing, party leadership, party structure. No, it is the same thing.
Let me inform you again. Let me inform you again that they are not the same thing. Okay. That's what some of these people who claim they are senior advocates of Nigeria, most of us that are not lawyers are more intelligent than they are.
Oh, really?
We tend to know the law. Yes.
But they are the corridors, but they are the corridors. You know the law more than the senior advocates.
In 2017, the convention has already been convened. Convention had already been convened.
Okay.
And then the issue at that time was, and the caretaker committee was set up at the convention venue. It was McCarthy then and this other people faction. It was at the convention venue that this caretaker committee was set up.
Yes.
But this particular point in time, convention had not commenced. This is process of the convention. The court did not say you should not do your convention. Justice Lifo, Justice Omotosho never said the party cannot do their convention. What Justice Omotosho said is that do not proceed with your convention until you meet the constitutional provisions of your party.
Okay.
So they have not met in Ibadan when the court gave this judgment. Justice Lifo said, do not proceed with your convention until you sell form to members of your political party who are eligible to contest for the position of your party. So the process of the position had not commenced at this point. So that's why I said these are entirely different issues.
All right, Honorable, whether these are entirely different issues or they are the same, it is still a reflection, whether it is an entirely different issue or it is the same. It is also a reflection of the crisis that have existed within the PDP, which is what my question is seeking to address. Not whether or not Justice Omotosho asked them to stand by on their convention or whatever it is the case was being presented. My issue is, or my question rather, is this constant internal crisis within the PDP, because this has lingered for quite a while now. This constant internal crisis within the PDP, is it a problem of leadership, failure or leadership, or it is a deeper failure of internal democracy? Because if one party is constantly feeling aggrieved and creating a fraction out of the party, leading other people, choosing leadership for themselves, there's another convention going on. Why does it always exist within the PDP? This is my question. Is it a matter of internal failure of internal democracy, or it is a matter of failure of leadership within the PDP? This is my question.
Well, it's a matter of failure of leadership in PDP, not internal democracy. It is the process of internal democracy that has put the party to rest, coming from what happened yesterday. And then, mind you, too, it's not only PDP that has this problem. Labour Party have their own. In fact, their own is still ongoing. You know how what's her name, Justice Senator Nenadi Usman and Abure. That's how their own happened. But now Labour Party is a shadow of itself. So you can't compare it to People's Democratic Party.
But we don't see any of their member actively serving under another political party while holding leadership of their political party. We don't see any.
There's nothing wrong with that. No, there's nothing wrong with that. The member of the party is serving Nigeria. And the essence of political party activities is to serve the people. So if you have something, if the president or commander-in-chief sees you value enough to add to the government. If you reject because you're a member of a political party, then you're not being patriotic to Nigeria. You're not.
But you would agree, Honorable, that it has gone beyond just serving your country in the capacity of an office that is being given to you. You are now canvassing votes for the person that you are serving under his administration. Meanwhile, you are also expected to present a candidate for the 2027 general elections. But the person who now assumes a position of leadership within your party is also calling others to vote the re-election of the president. Don't you think that's a contradiction of what your internal party dynamics should be?
My dear, it is not. It is not. It has nothing to do with that.
How
like
so?
I just said that. Yeah, like I just said that. If you have something to add to your country.
Okay, I would really love for him to speak to that, because how do you explain that? Yes, I do.
Need to sorry about that. Lots of one or two reasons.
Okay, please go on.
Can I arrive somewhere?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go on. Yes, go on. Go on. All right, we couldn't see you.
Yeah. It has nothing. Yeah, it has nothing to do with what happened to PDP was as a result of failure of leadership.
Okay.
And the person who was at the point in time was supposed to provide leadership was Atiku Abubakar, who was a presidential candidate of our party consecutively. But he failed to provide leadership to the party and only depends and comes back when he favors him to grab the party ticket and run away. And now certain persons in the party says, no, this impunity can no longer continue. We have to face the governance and face the politics of what it is or what it should be. Now, I was coming to ADC when you talked about the parties, the internal failure of this and that. ADC, as we speak, is having the same problem caused by the same person who has moved his luggages down to the ADC. So they have two factions in ADC now. And as we speak, I am sure they are going to conduct 2 national conventions this week, if at all anyone votes. So it is part of dynamism in Nigerian politics. So as regards to the other question that you asked, I have said that if you have something to give to your country, and at a time being you are called upon to serve your country, and you say that you are a member of this political party, you're not going to give that. Okay, assuming now FCT minister, the national leader of PDP, is not the minister of FCT as we speak. How do you think FCT would have been? It would have been worse than what Bello, the former FCT minister, left it. Because that one did not put one solar light, one street light in any part of Abuja. He did not put one toilet in any part of Abuja. But as we speak, FCT has become a wonderful place. In fact, it can compete comfortably.
According to who? According to who, Mr. Author? Because we still have, Honorable, we still have cases of kidnappings here. In fact, first-hand information, we still have cases of robbery. Ransom is being paid within the FCT. I have an experience of a close ally who was kidnapped right from their homes. And from January to March, we have had a statistics of about 34 persons being kidnapped within the Kubwa community, just the Kubwa community alone. So when you speak about the fact that the FCT is wonderful, I'm trying to understand. We also have allegations of land grabbing being accused, the FCT minister being accused of. In fact, at some point, there was a document that was released online of the allocation that he gave to his son. Not only that, we're talking about how, I don't know how to put that, but while we celebrate infrastructural development, there's also human capital development, which Senator Ireti Kingibe has said to the FCT minister time and again that while infrastructural development is beautiful, ignoring human capital development is also costly. So I want to know the basis with which you say that the FCT is fantastic and is doing exceedingly well, because we still have issues of kidnapping, we still have issues of transportation, we still have, in fact, the FCT is just coming out of this situation right now that there was lack of water for over a week, and I don't know if that has been resolved right now. So when you speak of the FCT being fantastic, I would like to know in what context this is.
I don't know where you are living in FCT. I live in Abuja, FCT, the Federal Capital Territory, and as I'm speaking to you, I'm in FCT. So I don't know where you got the data of no water in Abuja for 1 week or now, because I have not heard that before. I don't know where you live. I don't know the part of FCT.
Oh, it's not about where I live. Oh, I live also in the FCT, the Federal Capital Territory. So yes, I have access to light. Yes, I have. Honorable Author, that is a shade. That is a shade. Honorable Author, that is a shade, and I will respond to it accordingly. I have access to light, 24 hours light, and I have access to water. But that also does not deny the fact or dispute dispute the fact that places like Buari community, that still is the FCT, regardless of the fact that you might consider it as a suburb, has issues of light. The Usman Dam, in fact, there have been videos online. I will personally get some across to you where the FCT minister has been accused of redirecting the water from the Usman Dam for personal use. You know, so the people from Usman Dam in Buari community, I'm not telling you speculations, I'm telling you facts about things that I have gone to access myself. So when I say there's no water in the FCT, it's not about where I live. It's about the reality that is on ground, following the facts that I've been able to gather within the FCT.
Can you let me come in?
Oh, yes, please. Yes, please.
Yeah, we're already digressing from
oh, yes.
why I'm here, because I am not a spokesperson of the FCT. We are discussing PDP politics, and I brought it in.
He's a member of the PDP.
Yeah, I am very happy. I'm very happy that you said you have seen a lot of things and you have a lot of data. You mentioned the exact number of 34 persons that were kidnapped in Kubwa and all that. Have you also taken time to make sure or to analyze or to put together the number of bridges that have been constructed by this FCT minister, the number of roads that have been built, the number of schools that have been built, the number of the streetlights that have been put in every part of the FCT? Or are you only interested in the negative part of the FCT, leaving aside the positive parts?
If you heard me correctly, I would say, if you heard me correctly, you would hear that I said that infrastructural development is ongoing, but human capital development is still lacking. Okay.
I would want you to, as someone that is good with data, as you're giving me the negative ones, you should as well bring forth the positive side.
You can't change what is positive, but you can address what is negative. There's still room for change. You can't change what is positive, but you can address what is negative to cause change.
You have to accept, first of all, with me, that he has done fantastically well in this particular area.
Fantastic is relative.
The areas you have concern with.
Fantastic is relative.
There is no water in FCT for the past 1 week. I told you that I live in FCT. I'm speaking from FCT, and I cannot remember any day that I've not had water, which can happen anytime, everywhere, or when they were constructing roads, which may affect the supply of water. So
all
these
right,
are the areas that can be put out there, and then the due notice will be given to it.
All right, Honorable. Do stay with us. We're going to continue with the conversations surrounding the PDP crisis, the convention as well, just in a moment. Let's go on a quick break. When we'll come back, we'll continue with the conversation. Please do stay with us. Glad to have you back on Rapid On this morning. We'll be having conversations centered around the PDP convention and, of course, some of the internal party crisis that has been going on within the PDP. And our guest, Honorable Arthur Ogochukwu, PDP Zonal Secretary, has been here with us, Imo State, basically. Honorable Arthur, once again, thank you for being here with us this morning.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. Earlier, whilst you were talking, you said that the PDP has moved on. And in that very sentence as well, you also did mention that currently the PDP has 2 states. And you went on to say, in fact, those 2 states are no longer available for the PDP because according to you, the 2 governors in those states are already on their way out of the PDP. Now, you again said that the PDP has moved on. Analysts have also come out to say that the PDP, you're fighting against yourself instead of concentrating on governance or being a solid opposition as it is. Can you honestly say that the PDP is ready for the 2027 general election? Will you be on the ballot in 2027 with everything that's going on within the party?
Well, PDP is ready for the 2027 general election. What is going on in the PDP, like I said just a while ago, that what is going on there is not different from what is going on in other political parties. Every party have their ups and downs. They have their downtime and their uptime. So PDP has had their own since 2023 till this minute. And then as of yesterday, all those has been put to rest by the convocation of the National Convention, which took place successfully and in fact hugely successful event. So you saw the calibers of people that were there. You saw the electoral umpires that were there, which were not in New York, to give validation to whatever that happened there. So it's a signal that we're heading to the right direction. And the national leader of the party said that PDP will field candidates in all positions as 2027 approaches. In fact, he even made threats to some of the people who went away with the mandates of the PDP, including those that are going to leave very shortly, that the PDP will take back their mandates back. Because you cannot steal what belongs to me and ask me to keep quiet. That mandate was given to you because you are a PDP. And then if you take it to the opposition and then to wherever you want to, the people will take their mandate back.
When you say taking your mandate,
implication of that.
When you say taking your mandate back, what exactly do you mean by that particular statement? Are you trying to say that the governors who have defected, from one party to another, being under the platform of the PDP? For instance, the River State governor who won under the platform of the PDP, who is now in the APC. When you say the party is asking to take their mandate back, please put that in context and explain that for us in simple terms. What do you mean by that?
It's very simple. It's very simple. River State has been a PDP state. Enugu State has been a PDP state. Delta State has been a PDP state. Just to mention all of them. So in the 2027 election, as the election progresses, as time comes on, the people will decide. Plateau has been a PDP state. In fact, when all...
Honorable Arthur? I think we're having fluctuation with the network. We'll do to have the Honorable join us on the conversation, or rather join us again on the conversation to continue and give his clarity on what he means by taking back your mandate as it is. But of course, he's been giving us answers to the questions regarding the PDP convention, of course, the internal crisis going on within the PDP. We hope to get him back, continue with the conversation as it is. But he was trying to give us answers. Earlier we asked him a question about the PDP being ready, for the 2027 general elections, and he said that they are ready. Even owning up to the fact that currently the PDP has just 2 states. In fact, in his words, he said that those two states, the governors are already on their way out of the PDP to another party as it is. But he's quite confident that the PDP will be fielding their candidates, come 2027.
Well, basically, I don't think that the strength of a political party is only tested on the ballot. I think it is in their ability to resolve the internal crisis. This has gone on for too long, and although he thinks that this does not affect presenting a candidate for the 2027 elections, or will not affect their appearance on the ballot, in any case, we see that I'm very particular about the timelines that INEC has given in May. Basically running out of time, and if this leadership that they have put together is not able to address this crisis and bring it to a dead end, because they're being thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us.
Honorable Arthur back on the line. You were giving us
PDP is back. PDP is back from the problems. I don't know if you guys were at the Velodrome yesterday, or your anchor people were there. If you were there, you would confirm that the storm is over. We have come out of the shambles. So the other faction will be left with no option than to withdraw any case or wherever they have them and join the party to move the party forward. And I believe they are going to do that as soon as possible.
All right, let me
take it. We're ready for the election, and we are beating all the INEC timelines. Every other thing you can think of, we have come out of all that.
All right, Honorable, I'd love you to give us some information here. Let's take it back a little bit to 2023, when of course the issue started up and the formation of the G5 governors. And there were allegations that the G5 governors were involved in anti-party activities. But first of all, before I go with my question, I would love you to first of all help me define what anti-party activity means.
Well, anti-party is doing things that's against the party. That's
all right.
The simple term.
All right. Could you give me an example? Could you give us an example of an anti-party activity?
Example of anti-party activity. One of them is one of the anti-party activities that happened in 2023. And I have a clear example is when the presidential candidate of the party, then Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, insisted as against the zoning of the party to hold on to the presidential ticket of the party and also hold on to the chairmanship of the party in the same zone of the party. That is anti-party. That is a willful damage.
Okay. So is it also anti-party activity for a group of persons in the same party to canvass for votes for a different person in another party?
Well, this is the basis of what led to that.
No, is that an anti-party activity, sir?
It is anti-party activity. That's exactly what led to. But I'm just giving you an example of what led to.
We are going somewhere, because earlier when we were talking about the fact that currently the FCT minister who is serving under this administration, that is not even the problem. Currently also canvassing for vote for the APC president, who of course is going to be the presidential candidate again, come 2027. that particular action, is it going to be referred to an anti-party activity as well? I mean, being in the PDP and canvassing for a vote rather for the APC candidate, is that an anti-party activity?
Mr. The FCT Minister is working for the President is working for the Federal Republic of Nigeria. No. And his principal is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
All right, Honorable, let me just maybe ask you that question a bit more. Do you think that the FCT Minister now, because I understand that this also is one of the bane of the crisis that exists within the party, as the other fraction had pointed out, the Turaki fraction has pointed out that this is also one of the reasons they cannot uphold the leadership of this fraction that you're a part of right now. So do you think that the FCT Minister now campaigning votes for the APC, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, under the All Progressive Congress, do you think that this will in any way jeopardize the chances of the candidates that will be fielded by the People's Democratic Party?
Well, we came here to talk about the crisis in People's Democratic Party, and I have given an insight to that. Now, I don't want us to center this interview on the FCT Minister.
No, we are trying to gain clarity. We are still talking about the PDP, the crisis, the convention as it is.
I'll give clarity. I'm going to give you clarity to the best of my ability and to the point that I know of. But keep going back to FCT Minister.
But he did. But the crisis. But honorable, the crisis. But the honorable, the crisis is also centered around him as well. Now, the court. We have to address issues like this, and I need you to understand that this is not intentionally poking a person. No. This is where most of the controversy centered around, the crisis within the PDP is at. So we might as well unpack them one after another to address the issues. He is one of the leaders of that fraction. He's a leader of the fraction, as we speak. And now you have said that the issue has been resolved. PDP is moving forward. They will field candidates. So why they field candidates? Is it okay for someone who is recognized as a leadership of that party to canvass vote or to campaign for another person? This is still within the ambit of that conversation. Because if the issue has been you being a member of a political party and then engaging in party activities for another political party, is the reason that the Turaki-led faction is also aggrieved about the party, then we might as well address that, since that is the major issues. So I don't think that is deviating at all. Do we have him here?
Thanks.
Then I'll just consider this as probably intentionally evading answering this particular question, because you cannot say we are deviating from the conversation. This is the bane of the crisis between the two fractions in the PDP.
Of course.
So if this cannot be addressed, then I don't think that the crisis within the party has been resolved in any way at all. In fact, if he is going to lead the campaign of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
a member of the PDP,
come 2027, and he still is a member of the PDP, I mean, I think it is justifiable for anybody at this point to start to question his membership in the PDP.
Well, of course, the convention has been held, and just like our guests, they say, the FCT Minister is one of the national leaders of the party, as it is, and the question around anti-party activities is one that's been in the social media space and the social space as well for quite some time. Again, the Turaki-led faction did make mention of that. Makinde himself said that he is no longer going to be supporting Nyesom Wike. Do recall that Shey Makinde right now was part of the G5 governor in 2023, which means that they were quite close and they both fought for, in quote, the party. And the major issue then was the zoning of the candidates then in 2023, which also led to Peter Obi leaving the PDP as at the time as well. But of course, now coming all together, and this faction is saying that if you're going to be supporting a different party and canvassing your vote for a different party while still being a member of the PDP, then we cannot be together and do that.
It's not just being a member, fighting to be a member of the PDP.
I mean, being a national leader of the PDP.
Exactly.
The convention was just held yesterday, as it is. But this, of course, are some of the challenges that we've seen, within the PDP. And we really did hope that our guests would have been here to give us all of these answers and give us all of the clarity, because reconciliation talks were still ongoing. The FCT Minister called for reconciliation after the appeal court upheld their judgment, right? The Turaki-led faction, talked about the reconciliation as it is. our guest also did mention that if they are going to come to the table to reconcile, having the interest of the party at heart, then they are going to do that. But we didn't see a reconciliation happen, but of course we say that a convention has been held.
But Victor, I like to practicalize conversations. And I would just use an inter-house sport. We all participated in an inter-house sport, while we were growing. There's the yellow house who people say never rain, but we also have the yellow house and then we have the green house. Yeah. Are you trying to tell me that from the yellow house, you can go and participate? Let's say it's a running competition, and then from the yellow house, you go run for the blue house or the green house. It is not logically comprehensible that you are a member of a party, but you are working towards the advancement of another party. This is the focus of this is the major reason that the crisis within the PDP exists. And if he is able to clearly define his allegiance, either to PDP or to APC, I think that the crisis will resolve itself.
Definitely.
Because now we know that you are with the PDP. So whatever it takes. Personally, when the FCT minister, when Nyesom Wike was being called to fill in appointed to fill in the ministerial position for the FCT minister. I was part of the people that congratulated the president for that initiative, because where he's coming from, Rivers State, he was known as Mr. Project. So he carried out a lot of projects, that I saw for myself how he advanced the state with infrastructural development. So for the longest, we have been calling for the FCT to be infrastructurally developed, as it is the capital of Nigeria. This is the first meeting point for foreigners who come to have an experience of Nigeria, even though Lagos also has taken that league over the years. However, now you are in the party. It is one thing to do your job as the FCT minister, and it is another thing to say, support this person. These are two very different things. So when the guest is evading the conversation by saying, oh, he's working for the good of Nigeria. Yes, we agree, he's working for the good of Nigeria. And I made sure that I pointed out the fact that infrastructurally, he has been doing pretty well for the FCT, as there are certain contracts that have been allocated in the last couple of years that have not even been, they have not even commenced the project, but we have seen multiple that he's been on and he's carried out, and some are not yet completed anyways, as the bus terminals that he also constructed are not in use. But the fact that it's there, it means that there's a possibility that it will be used. So we commend him for that. But much more than that, his actions over time has been, according to analysts, of course, and members of the party, has crippled the internal structure of the PDP. This is the question. So I would say that the guest intentionally evaded that question this morning.
All right, we do hope that we can have him again to clarify or give us even better answers to the question that we've asked him as well this morning. But this is all we're going to be taking on to this edition of Rapid on Right on Rapid Television. Do remember that you can be part of the conversation. You can get to follow us on our social media pages across all platforms at Rapid TV. You can get to watch all our episodes on YouTube at Official Rapid TV. And wherever you are in the world, not to worry, you can watch us live using our website at www.arabianradiotv.com. My name is Victor RK.
And my name is Martha Alo. We'll see you tomorrow.
We'll see you tomorrow.